Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee, certified brewhead.
Oh yeah, I'm Tiffany, liquid enthusiast.
Yes,
is that the name I decided on?
Yes, I think you said that every
Liquid
single time.
enthusiast. How's it going, everybody?
Yes. And welcome to episode 4 of Link Up series of BAOS this evening. It's been a great season so far for the first bunch of launches, which is great. This is week 4, beer 4. It's been exciting. Everything has been fire. The conversations have really been engaging and genuinely insightful, and it's been really, really cool. We've enjoyed it because we didn't know how this was going to come out, right? So we've enjoyed it more than we thought we would. So this evening we have these guys. We did our most epic podcast. You weren't. Oh, you were in the background.
I was there.
You were right there. Yes. Our most epic part. I feel like I'm too far on that side. Let's even that out a bit. There we go. We did our most epic, long, hilarious podcast of all time with these guys.
Literally, like one of the most popular ones, and it was like 5 hours long.
Yeah,
like people watched it all the way through. I saw somebody watch it again.
Yeah, they listened to the
audio.
audio.
They
and
listened
they watched
to it, and then they're like, "Oh, came here to watch it."
The beer.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, epic.
It was pretty insane. Yeah. So this evening, I promise them they don't believe us, but we're going to keep it a little tight. We'll do our best. Please welcome Bebo and Chris of Third Moon. There it is. Welcome gentlemen.
Welcome.
Great to see your faces.
Thanks
for having me.
Genuine pleasure. Always fun. Like I said, we'll try our best to keep it tight. You know, we're already yapping for a bit beforehand. We're already getting started, so it's a problem. If anyone wants to know the full Third Moon story, we did on episode 28 of the Adjunct series, which was the live. So I would say you're either going to listen to that over a few days, or you're going to settle in for the night and get trashed. So one of the two. So, boys, first of all, thank you for hanging out. And thank you immensely for, being so willing and so kind and generous of getting involved with the Link Up project. You guys were definitely, an optimal brewery to start this with. Obviously, all the people we involved with, we already had relationships with and were big fans of. So to have you guys, a brewery of your caliber, to support what we're doing is an honor. So we appreciate y'all very much for that. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Before we go into the conversation, we're going to rock with the beer, the Third Moon Link Up with these. These are Blue Jays, yeah? Or a Red Jay? Or just Jays?
I got
There's a Blue Jay, there's a
Cardinal.
Oh, a Cardinal.
Okay. And what's the yellow guy?
A yellow finch.
Okay.
Do you know Blue Jays are part of the Corvid family? Are you familiar with Corvids?
No.
Let me tell you. What do you know? Corvids have 10 times the neurons in their brain than primates, which means they can fashion tools out of nature and actually complete tasks. Such as, they got obviously the jays, they got ravens, crows, magpies, which are a good Aussie bird that'll fucking swoop you. They're fascinating. We could definitely do a whole podcast about that one time.
We went to one random conference ever to help a friend with his project. And they happened to do this one, it was like behavior psychology or something. And then this one guy did something on the Corvids, and Craig has not left it alone for 4 years.
It was 2018. So
It's just every time hey, do you guys see that Corvid over there? Let me tell you a little bit about the Corvid. Yeah. I don't know how you retained the information.
It's fascinating. So well. I want a raven. They're so gangster. So I'm very happy you put that on there.
Right info at the right time.
Right?
If we were to go back to school and degree class, I would have been so much more interested.
Yes. I feel like learning's way more fun when you're older.
Yeah, for sure.
Oof.
It's way more fun when you just got Wikipedia and it'll tell you what you need to know in 10 seconds.
Yo, were you guys in school? I think we're similar ages because Tiff had Wikipedia. I did not have that in my time.
No.
It was still a bit dicey. It existed, but it was still a bit dicey for me.
Right.
Yeah. I would say it was a little dicey, but totally put me all the way through university, through end of high school and university. Very fortunate. Very fortunate. And then all you had to do was take the references from the bottom of the Wikipedia. So it was let's cite your references, and it's don't mind if I do. And then you just cited it and then put it there. It was
they must
great.
have a way around that now, though.
Wonderful life. For sure they have a way around that.
So
now.
you probably
can't do
got
it.
in at the early stages when
Yeah.
they didn't have a way around.
Yeah, because they started introducing like plagiarism detectors at the end of my
Jesus.
year and stuff like that, at the
Wow.
end of my school year. But yeah,
All
I was
right.
right at the so many Wikipedia graduates, we like to say.
Wikipedia graduates. Well, with that in mind, to Third Moon, to Link Up, and to Corvids. Get that in you. Oh wait,
Cheers.
Chris got a pour.
Wait. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Amazing. So tell us about this one. I recall the hops. This is 6.5% IPA with triple M hops. It was
Yeah, that's right. So we use Mosaic, Mistral. I keep saying Mistral, but I don't know. I think it's Mistral.
Mistral.
It's a French hop, and Motueka. So idea was like 3 different hops, all starting with M, different parts of the world, and kind of blending those together into a 3, and then it just worked out pretty well with the 3 different birds. So a little bit harmonious.
That's awesome. So I guess obviously signifying collectiveness, together, inclusion, everyone coming
You got
together.
it.
All
And
right.
a theme of communication. Like
Ooh.
we've kind of, Bebo and I've always agreed from the beginning that we don't want to do things in a vacuum. You need to be aware of what's going on outside of yourselves, and can't be in this white castle making decisions. So this label really spoke to us, and this artwork that Casey did just seemed to really fit the bill. And there are multiple conversations going on, and even though we're kind of on different trees, you can see we're all trying to get on the same branch.
That's a bar.
I
That's a
love that.
bar
That's
right
deep.
there. So
I love
the beer itself, just so we don't skip over it, some of the tasting notes. So this is a one interesting fact, and I think this was just a pure coincidence. All the first 4 beers, all hop forward, IPAs or pale ales or doubles, all have like this little touch of pine in there. Every single one of them, which typically isn't found in that brewery's beers. I feel like I don't get that a lot in your stuff. So I love that that's been a random coincidence through this whole thing. The flavor profile of the beer, like maybe you guys, the way you described it was red gummy, like red gummies. Is that right?
Red gummy worms.
Red gummy worms. Okay.
Yeah, we're thinking
mean,
like Swedish fish or Twizzlers or gummy worms, something like that.
It's just with the bird theme on the label, gummy worms seem to speak the most.
Okay.
Got this juiciness to it, and when we were putting the tasting notes together, I was really struggling because I was getting a juiciness, but I couldn't name the fruits I was getting, and so we've learned that that's one of the normal flavors that you can get off that the straw hop. So
Ooh.
it just
cool.
as soon as Bebo said it, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm getting.
That's actually awesome and surprisingly accurate. When I read that, I was like, okay, interesting. I have heard that before. And then when I tried it, I was like, wow, like that's on the money. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, like you watch those wine movies where they're like tennis ball and garden hose, and you're like, sometimes it's just the descriptor is it's not there. It's not there in the memory banks, and all of a sudden someone says something new, and you're like, actually, I am getting that.
It's fascinating.
That's
I love
very
it.
cool.
It's a really interesting beer. It's got all the signature, like, we've talked about this before. You guys have that dank overripe fruit thing going on, which is really prominent in your beers, which I fucking love. So it's definitely forward in this, with this kind of like, there's like just a subtle bit of that pine at the end, which just differentiates the beer a little bit. It's super crushable at 6.5. Tons of, that's my money zone between 6 and 7. So I was stoked to see that ABV. Yeah, why did you guys choose this particular I guess because you just knew that it was... Because one thing, I guess we've said it in each episode, we do not interfere with the beer itself. We want the brewery to sort of be creative and do your thing, because it's not the real intention of that, at least for this first series. So, like, did you guys choose it for a specific reason? I mean, obviously, this is your bread and butter as far as styles.
Yeah, I think, well, that's something I really loved about being part of this project is the freedom. It was like, make whatever style you want, have the label be whatever you want, just call it Link Up and put our logo on it. And then, agree to share this information. And that was really cool because as much as it could bring out some creativity to work within a narrow box, um, just doing what we do best is kind of the best way to let us shine and to let the other breweries shine. So I think giving that freedom where it's like, do what you want, do what you think is going to represent yourself well. I think that was really cool.
Nice.
Also, the style of IPA, it speaks to everyone. You know, like if you drink craft beer, it's rare if you don't drink IPAs, and it's like a nice 6.5%. We're right up the middle, so it's kind of a very relatable and common ground type of style where we felt we could have a conversation with the other breweries in this, and for this whole series.
That's so
And
cool.
Yeah.
flavor profile, it's like it's fun too, because then it's something where, hey, we can be a bit more experimental as well, and that hop we were talking about is something we haven't used before, so it's just like, hey, let's try something new. And it's you really want the profile for this, we felt anyways, you really want something juicy, and just it's got to be something that is pleasing to most palates. And what do people want when they drink a New England style IPA? They want the juice. So this just, everything checked the boxes here, and it just felt like the right way to go.
I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then with the artwork, you've talked about the significance. Did Casey just come up with that? You told him, Casey, obviously Yardwolves, your amazing artist who does everything. You just said, hey, this is the project, this is what it's about, go nuts? Or was there more of a conversation?
It was a little bit go nuts. We try to give as much freedom and flexibility because he's the artist and he's the one that's able to see stuff that Chris and I can't. So he came back with we had kicked a couple ideas around, but this is the one that just really struck with us. So I don't think we had too much back and forth on this. Once we saw it, we're like, yep, that's it, that's the one.
So good.
I love that.
Yeah, obviously we shared the whole purpose and all the slides and everything.
Oh, nice.
It
Is that
also-
what he does? He presents it like a slide? Like a...
I know Steve shared our slides with him. So
Oh,
that he
you
could
give it
see
to him, and then he just understands and puts
What
it
it's
in
all
direction.
about.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
And there are lots of things that Casey draws, and so not everything is in the vein of what we do. And this was one of those designs that we just felt really walked the line and was, more accessible, and just like a little bit, something that not out of character, because we have definitely a theme of birds in our artwork, but it was definitely one that's like a little more open and I don't know, positive or lighter than some of the other darker themes we do. And it's obviously a very positive cause, so we felt like it just was a match. As soon as we saw it, we messaged each other, you dig this? Yep, me too, let's roll.
I love it. That's amazing. This is so cool, man. It's really cool to hear this, because I don't think we really got this story from you guys before. So then, when we reached out and told you guys about the project, what made you want to get involved in something like this? Obviously, we'll get to it in a second with your Black is Beautiful. So you guys already have a history in your short time existing of supporting initiatives that are important to you guys. But what made you guys want to get involved in something like this?
I think so. Working with you guys, like we love you guys. We've been big fans since before we were even on the podcast. I know I've been following your YouTube videos on Instagram growing, and that was really successful for us in the early parts of Third Moon. So, you guys are steering the ship in a lot of ways for us. And Sankey M, we love those guys. We opened on the same day, and we did a birthday collaboration. So the fact that it was both of you together was like a slam dunk. No matter what it was, we were going to be in. But the idea behind Link Up. So I think there's a lot of folks doing a lot of very difficult and very necessary work to broaden the craft beer landscape, to bring more people into the fold. And this was the first one, at least that I've come across, that was really devoted to not not customers, but employees and owners, and really building that side of it up, because you know, you don't have to look too hard to realize that there's a diversity issue in craft beer. So you know, something like you said, we've done Black is Beautiful. We did a LGBTQ fundraiser beer for Pride Month. It's something that we try to use our small platform to give back in any way we can. That's something that's important to us. And you know, even the diversity issue in craft beer, something that Chris and I always talk about with our slushy beers. So we make these. A lot of folks call them smoothie beers. We call them slushies, and kind of beers that sort of like tried and true old school beer folks don't love, or they get you know, it's not beer, and they get all worked up about it. But week after week, we see so many people that, I'm not into beer, I don't know about craft beer or whatever, but they get so excited about these flavors. They're new flavors, whole new experience. I just feel strongly that you can't diversify the industry by focusing on like German lager styles. As much as we all love those kinds of beers, you know, coming out with another Helles isn't going to open the umbrella even further. So, you know, it's something we try to push the boundaries of fun and experimentation in our beers, with the idea that hopefully that will grow beyond this niche of hardcore core customers, and hopefully grow the umbrella for us and for everybody.
Yeah. I think beer diversity, and that's just so well said. That's great. That's awesome. And just when you're talking about the diversity in beer, I always think about my friends. Like, even when we were in New York at Momofuku with Adriana, and say she's not interested in beer at all, but we gave her Other Half.
Yeah.
We gave her like this New England IPA from Other Half, and she was like, "Oh, all right, okay, like this is really good. Like, what's going on? Like, do you know what I mean?" So it's like that is what it does. Like, you introduce diversity in that, and then that is how you bring in new people. You just have to introduce them to something that hasn't been presented to them before. And also, once you kind of get in, then that's how you start expanding and start being more interested in trying other things, which is the same thing we've had in doing anything different. And that's, I think, the problem, is that a lot of things have been the same, so it attracts the same people, and it just becomes like the same cycle of sameness, I'll just say, altogether. And even with like our friends in Lost Craft, they just had cans that looked different once upon a time, and then that attracted people, it attracted a whole different clientele, and then in the end they started reaching a whole new market, and really landed that diverse demo because of that too. When we had their beers in events and things like that, like the people who were holding beer did not look like what you would normally see in the craft beer space. So, yeah, I think diversity across all levels is key, like product and workforce.
Those are amazing points.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we see that every weekend when our awesome customers come out and support us week after week, and I feel we have a pretty diverse crowd of people, and it's, you know, it doesn't matter how diverse the crowd is, everyone can relate on some common themes of respect, and you know, there's no, I'm a firm believer in this, there's no one right way to do pretty much anything. You know, things can get done in unique and creative ways, and if we can do those things and represent ourselves authentically, then we're changing the world one person at a time.
Yeah, one thing, in Milton, there's a large school for the deaf. So I don't know what about other breweries, but I feel like we probably have a larger percentage of deaf customers than most breweries. I don't know how you would even quantify that, but it's something that we've all learned basic sign language. Chris has had long text conversations with people, so just doing small things to help people feel included and welcome and not separated, and that's spread within the deaf community to be quite a thing, where Chris is getting text all hours of the day and getting special orders ready and stuff. So it's really cool.
What? That is so sick.
That's amazing.
And we want to, like, some of those people want to avoid the crowd and pick up, like 5 minutes before we open or something. And so they'll reach out and text me, and it's like, of course we can do that. I can bring it out to your car. Like, these are simple things that a small business can do
Mm.
and wants to do to just, give the level of service that we all wish that we would receive. So we're really grateful for that community, and there's another amazing cause that we've certainly talked about supporting, and will, as soon as we can slot in the next idea.
That's the coolest shit I've ever heard, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody, hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. I've never heard anyone say anything like that before. And that, I think that speaks volumes about who you two are as human beings. I think you guys are legends, and you can tell when I hear you talk, you care about the people, you care about the beer. But the fact that you're even going over and above to make people, I guess essentially it's a disability, extra welcome. I don't know. That's beautiful, man. Well done.
But that's not even
cool.
like over and above. It's just kind of this basic respect for people. Like the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Someone calls the brewery and I answer, and they say, I'm in the parking lot. I've got my child in the car with me. Is there any chance you can bring my order out? And it's like, yeah, of course I can. Like it's not that big a deal, but we're just, we've streamlined businesses and built them up to the point where that's just not even a part of the business model. And so small business, which is the bread and butter of the communities, those are the only places you're going to find that kind of treatment. Just, one-on-one, person to person, individual to individual. And we want to be part of our community and kind of just treat people on a basic level that you just would love to be treated anywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's super dope, man. You guys are awesome. I did want to just quickly mention, though, that Steve, you mentioned the social media stuff. I didn't know that, so that is so cool to hear. And I want to. You are, and I mean this for real. You guys are one of the very, very, very few breweries who respond to every single comment, and you respond to every because I share, if I post, like last night, I shared the Dust Made Flesh little reel. So I share it from 3 different accounts into stories. So you comment on the post, and you you respond to the story, and then send an emoji.
Ooh, I
or
love
say
to hear
cheers
it.
or something.
I love to hear it. Love to hear
I
it.
never really kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And there's so many breweries. Like I'm gonna talk to Jacob at St. Kim because he doesn't really do that. We do it. But you guys do that every single time, and like I didn't really consider tie that together. So
that makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen enough. Like it happens.
Yeah,
occasionally,
you taught me that.
Man, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
I didn't know. I just man, Steve is on top of this. This is awesome. Like every time.
At the end of the day, we're craft beer fans too. So it's
Right.
like we're experiencing this as fans and really interested in what's actually happening and
Right.
Yeah.
what it is we're also doing for our day job, finally, for the first time in our lives.
It's super cool. So then to come back to what we were talking about before, the other initiatives, I want to you guys did Black is Beautiful back in June, I believe. And then you did the barrel-aged Black is Beautiful for your 1-year anniversary in May, which was phenomenal. Yeah, what made you guys get involved in that? I mean, there was only 35, I believe, last time I checked, breweries in Ontario that participated out of, 250 or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
How, what about that, initiative was appealing to you guys, and, talk us through that.
I think in general, Chris and I we get excited about stuff, and we just want to be part of stuff, and we probably agree to more collabs than anyone, and we just basically get super excited about it. But obviously, when the Black is Beautiful initiative was coming together, there was a very tenuous time in American politics, and I am American, so seeing how things were back home, it was troubling, depressing, stressful. It was a rough time, and to throw COVID on top of it, it just felt like the world was closing in, and this was like one small little thing we could do to just, not even make a difference, but just feel like we were pushing in the same way as our beliefs. So that's why we got involved in that, and also our anniversary for our our lineup for our first anniversary, having that part of that was a really cool throwback to one of the beers that we were happiest with over our first year, and it was something that start to finish we were happy to be a part of it, and it was a really cool, really exciting thing.
That's really cool. No, I love that. So, what did you guys in the end? Because Black is Beautiful was you donate proceeds to some organization. What did you guys end up choosing?
Yeah.
It was the Black Health Alliance, the Toronto
Yeah,
branch.
That's cool. Yeah. So I felt a lot of people did Black Lives Matter, but the Black Health Alliance was also super cute. So
Yeah, I feel like that.
yeah, and that is interesting because you are American, so you have a different perspective. You are like closer to what the sentiment overall and what the history is in the U.S. compared to even Canada, which I think also Canada as a whole. That's why the uptick on the collaboration was quite low. I think we said Ontario. I just checked. It was like 31-ish, but sometimes it's not categorized properly. I could see.
Yeah.
So it's probably
Yeah,
like
I think
35.
Yeah.
It's like weird because it was like
I think
Canada
there's
and it had
people
like
do it by
1.
itself.
It's like
Yeah.
Canada 1, and it's like Ontario 31. So I don't think it's
I think there's ON, and then there's I think
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they let people self-categorize.
Yeah.
Which is probably
not ideal for that type.
Because in Quebec it was
like
3, so
Yeah, Quebec was 3 only.
Yeah, there was.
Quebec was super low. Super
yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah, there was it was like a Google sheet or like a Google form you fill out. So I just filled it out without realizing, like, oh, this is how we're going to be categorized on the website for all time. So
for all times.
I should probably
I
get
hope
someone
I
to
did
type
it right.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, there's 4.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
You're 4 and on. You're an on.
so you put ON, and then other people put
Let's see
that.
if you made it to. Did you make it
So
to
then there
Ontario too? Okay, no. So you're on, and then some
And the
people are
rest
in
are
Ontario.
So
No,
there
and
was
then there's
35.
one.
I was right.
And then half hours is Canada. They're the all
half hours.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. They should
So-
probably have someone go through that
and
to
just
try
like
and help it.
condense everything.
Yeah. But so on that, and you were kind of just going there, Tiff.
Yeah.
You mentioned sort of the way that Canadians have approached this particular, issue in craft beer. What do you think is the vibe in? I guess you can only speak to Ontario, I imagine, right now. Like, the thing that all the stuff that happened last summer was really like a pinnacle, and people were talking about it every day. We're having the blackout week, and then as with everything, it kind of sort of fades into the background. But you guys still came back. You're one of the few that did it again.
Yeah.
Saint-Guillaume did it, I think, 3 times, and you guys had the barrel aged one, which was just glorious. What do you think the vibe generally? Is this a cause you think that a lot of people are concerned about, caring about, focusing on still?
Yeah, in terms of the Black Lives Matter side, but also the diversity
I guess
side.
that's more
Yeah,
what I meant.
I'm
was
curious.
the
Like, yeah, are
diversity side.
breweries even having these conversations at all? Like, man, we should really like try to get diverse people in here, or like, hey, like the industry's super white. Is anyone talking about that, or how do those conversations go?
Yeah, and I would say in the conversation we've had with other breweries and not even breweries, but places that sell craft beer. That's a thing that comes up, and it's like, I think there's a lot of folks feeling like they could or should do more, but not necessarily knowing what more even is, or how to go about it. So I think that some leadership, like Link Up in the sort of the mission of getting folks into Cicerone training, that's something actionable that I feel like people could get behind. So I haven't heard anyone or even know of anyone who hasn't expressed that this is something that we could all be doing better at. But
Good.
I think the biggest issue is, what does better look like? And you give me a list of 10 things and I'll do it, but I don't even know what those things could be. And then obviously managing that on top of hectic brew schedule, work-life balance, running a small business, cash flow, sales, peaks and valleys, there's a lot of things that go on top of it. So I think in that sense, being a smaller brewery where I feel like there's, Chris and I have 500 things pulling at our mind every second of the day. That's where you start to feel that little disconnect of like, oh my God, I'm trying to move a mountain like one spoonful at a time. So
Yeah, move a
Yeah.
mountain once. Wow. Okay. That feels like my to-do list or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, respect.
No, I feel you, and I guess that's probably why we wanted to do this, because
Yeah.
it is tough, for a business, particularly. We understand. I mean, obviously, St. Guillermo, our brewery, we own our own business, so we know what it's like to have 8 million things every single day to deal with, and then to have to consider this sort of, how do I diversify my customer base, my staff, and everything like that. So it's hopefully that's what we're trying to contribute.
Yeah.
One of the things, and this is kind of like a little bit random, do you think that overall say like a lot of breweries, what I found when we travel and interview breweries, a lot of breweries are pretty metal focused, which is, you guys, I would imagine, would identify as that. Is that accurate? Is that fair?
We love.
I'd say we're leaning towards it, but it's funny. Yeah, it's all over the board.
It's all over. Okay.
We're big music lovers, and yeah, Bebo and I like music on the heavier side of things. So,
Right.
Music on the heavier side is a good
and I
one.
respect that.
it's
I was
something like we want to weave into
what
more
you're doing.
Yeah.
I think it does in a lot of your art, and I was
I feel like music and beer are two of the few things I can think of that are better when shared.
Yes,
Mm.
could not agree more, bro. Could not agree more. I was running, and this is like me pulling this completely out of my ass, but do you reckon that because a lot of breweries are sort of metal focused, and typically those are very white genre, like anything sort of metal and that sort of hard rock metal spectrum, I know it's, not easily defined. Do you think that discourages BIPOC individuals from even considering applying or getting involved, because they might see this beer, as amazing as Casey's artwork is, it has a skull or something, and then they're like, oh, okay, this doesn't really represent the stuff that I'm normally into? I was just kind of reaching before, and I was just wondering if that was ever a barrier, and it's not even for just across the board in craft beer, that a lot of the artwork might be something that like doesn't necessarily always speak to is probably more the word, various cultures,
Point that you bring up, and that's part of why we love being part of events like this or causes like this, is because you really learn when you start to move into uncomfortable territory, and to ask a question like that is really something that it hasn't been pondered by too many people. And it's time that it is. So that's a really cool thought, and I hope not. I hope the answer is no, but that's really what we need to do, is start asking questions and wondering if there's any changes we could make that would have a better outcome.
It's interesting because it is.
Yeah,
like...
I think that it's like a two-sided. Oh no, please go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying it's still your art. I mean, like, it's still like representative of like the breweries I still feel, because they are art, it still has to represent the culture and the people in that same way still. So it is interesting. Like, you wouldn't want to change yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be authentic.
But it has to be authentic to you. But it is interesting because, yeah, I would say if I looked and saw something and it was like super whatever, that's why I think Lost Craft did well, because it just was like slick can art and like it looked cool, and then it just kind of opened themselves up to a larger volume of people. But it is interesting, but you shouldn't have to change. So I just think it's an interesting thing.
That's
but it's like you can't change yourself to appeal differently.
Yeah.
So you have to find ways around that in order to still appeal to other people while staying true to yourself and your brand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it would be pretty disingenuous for us to just change everything about who we are and what we make and what we are putting out as our product to sort of appeal to a different audience and almost pander. Because I know, growing up in like the punk metal hardcore scene, there are a lot of visible minorities in those scenes. Bad Brains is one that's like one of the most classic punk bands you could think of, is all black guys. Brand of Sacrifice, the metal band that we collaborated with, their singer's half black. So it's a kind of
like the list goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that folks that grew up in that scene were just in life always a little bit of the outcast, and I think that visible minorities in those scene are like the outcast of the outcast. So it's just something that I don't know that you would be able to say that, but it definitely in general those are pretty white genres of music and art.
Yeah. And I
I
wasn't
do
even
love about interrupt. I do love about music though how, it's same as hearing someone's voice on the telephone before you actually see them. You get this image in your mind of what someone looks like, and music transcends that and really just if you're trying to get a face, it's really the face of the instrument as you imagine it being played, and so that's something that I personally love about music, is it makes you kind of throw away or not even spend time thinking about what makes us different. It's all about what makes us the same.
Yeah.
That's a bar.
Yeah. You got bars.
You got bars.
What time is that? 36:01.
Oh yeah, write that
down. Sorry, something else I was just thinking about when we're talking about this, and just actually just conversation wise, and just thinking about when somebody is, comes across say Third Moon in general, and are you had a job posting up, and then they started looking through your feeds to be like, is this a place that I want to stay, or want to work, or even or a place I want to visit, patronize, any of those things. I'm just thinking in terms of helpful tips to breweries or things that we can think about when it comes to breweries. That's why I feel like the partnership even that you mentioned, you're doing collaborations with diverse musicians, so people who identify as BIPOC. I feel like that is something that's so key and so interesting to be mindful of too. So it's okay, yeah, maybe we're in a genre that leans generally in this direction, but how do we make sure that we are considering everybody in this genre, so that people who find us feel like we're still for them and don't feel like we're only appealing to in one direction. So I think that's very key and super interesting. And then just overall, that's why marketing is a great tool, because you get the opportunity with platforms like Instagram to give visual cues to people that you are welcoming them in. So that's why I always say diversify your feed when you can, and this is just for breweries listening in general, because then at least maybe if I did see things that feel very metal and maybe not something I personally resonate with, if I did see diverse faces in the feed holding the cans and drinking it too, then you connect in a different way. So there are ways you could mitigate that. For example, if it feels like maybe you would generally only appeal to one person, you could find ways to, if it means you're doing photo shoots or you're bringing in other friends and just having your friends come in, take photos and things like that. If you have a diverse friend group, just so people land on it and feel oh, this is a place I want to work. I don't only see one type of person. I feel like they would welcome me. That's probably another trick around it. So it's strategic collaborations, and then really making sure your marketing is diverse as well.
Well, there's some really good thoughts. I just, as you were saying that, I'm thinking to myself, our photos that we take usually are, it's minus humans.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair.
That's definitely something we'll consider going forward.
Well, I think that my focus is always I want the beer to be the star of the thing. So if it's a picture of the beer, we very rarely will have a human in there. But yeah, I think all of the pictures of merch on our website are either Jim or Melissa.
Okay.
Those are the only two employees we have. Actually, no. There is the onesie. Chris's daughter's in the onesie.
You guys have a onesie? Oh my gosh.
That's gangster.
I
love it. I feel like it's
in the kid's T-shirt.
I think I remember seeing that photo. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm just checking it out now.
Yeah, bring it up. I think one of the things as well, I guess the challenge is, I feel like all of that, to say, and all of those things we were just saying is a lot of presumptions, really, because like you were saying, Steve, there's obviously there are people from every background listen to every type of music, so you can't really generalize.
Very cute.
That's a
very cute onesie. A very cute onesie. I'm just gonna. Yeah,
that looks super cool on a kid.
Yeah, actually, it's great.
Yeah, we're totally getting our kids.
Yeah, love it.
I love it.
We got to update it ones.
Yes. Oh, you're gonna do new ones?
That's so cute.
Well, there'll be different sizes utilized for
Oh, as
data
they
picture.
as they
As a
grow.
girl. Yeah,
That's
there you
smart.
go.
That's
There you
smart.
go.
Keep them in business. That's how the kids companies do it. Smart. I feel like the main challenge really is once you get people to try the product, because like you're saying, Steve, if it's all about the product, the once people try it, the rest of it doesn't even matter. So like this shit is fire, and that's really what our like Tiff, the example she gave before was our friend. She's Romanian, not a beer drinker at all. We gave her that other half, and she was like, "Yo, like now she's not exactly a beer drinker, but she appreciated it." I think that's definitely more of the challenge,
And she knows what to get. So
Well-
like when she finds herself in a brewery, she's like, okay, I
Yeah.
know this style. Like I remember
Yeah.
this name, and that's the one that I liked. So I'm gonna go with that. So
You
it's-
gave her one of the best in the world.
Well,
I
I
think.
think that's something that,
and that's who's up.
but that's something that even before we opened, Chris and I had a lot of discussions about like, we like darker imagery and skulls and blood and all that kind of flames and stuff, and our beer names are sometimes dark and a little morbid and stuff, and we had serious conversations like, is this going to turn off normal people? Like, are just mom and pop beer drinker going to see this and be like, no way? And at least anecdotally from what we see, like that's not the case. Like, people come who you would never in 100 years expect to be buying a beer called All Things Die, and they'll come and buy like a case of it.
That was
So,
actually my next question: was who's your customer base? Have you noticed a diverse element to your customer base? So, I mean, like when you're talking that, are you talking it's more like a 60-year-old dude or something? Like, or what's the?
Yeah, totally. We get all range of ages, gender, color, everything.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
so I don't think that we have, and it's always impossible to prove a negative, but from what we see and what we've experienced, like there was a patch like towards the end of last summer where we kind of progressively got like a little darker and a little weirder, and every time I'm like, this is the one where people are going to be like, too much, too far, this is too weird, and it never happened. And then I was like, okay. And yeah, so take that for what you will, but yeah.
We also feel that we're into the things that we love, and we're really into them, and it's all cult following stuff. So we said it doesn't really matter if what we're doing is a cult following type category. There are a lot of people who are really into certain things, and why don't we build this business in a way that appeals to people who are passionate about similar things that we're passionate about, and those people will come, and that's the basis upon which we can all relate to each other, and they're pretty simple things. So I think a common thread with our customers, and the ones we're certainly appealing to or trying to, is that they're passionate, and they know what they like. And we've seen the trends that you could find in any research paper would tell you that the age group is a lot more narrow than it really is. It's a wide range of ages. It's people though that know what they want and are willing to step outside their house to get it. And so it's the passionate beer nerd, the passionate flavor explorer that is kind of what we're after. And we just said that the piece of that pie, versus the whole pie is small, but that whole pie is so large that there's room for us to do something that doesn't appeal to everyone. There's room for us to appeal to a more narrow, category of people that kind of love similar things. So it's worked out for us because you don't really get anywhere by playing it safe, and that ties into our whole branding of being Third Moon, of being a blue moon, a disruptive force. We're not here to blend in. We want to do the things that we love, and we don't want to have to apologize for it.
That's awesome. I love that, and I think that's the only way to be as a business owner. You just got to do exactly that. Like, be yourself, do what you always wanted to do. Well, what's the point? You might as well go work for a bank or some shit. One thing I do want to ask as well, because as we were saying, we're really about not just diversifying the customer base, which is very important. We want to diversify the industry. So right now you've got the 2 employees with Jim and Melissa. Have you had, because I know Jim was around beforehand, obviously Melissa's your sister, Chris, and it's very important because to keep the business in the family. One of our employees is Tiffany's cousin from England, so I'm like, he really cares, and
Nice.
it's you see that.
We shipped him all the way over.
Right.
Got a family.
Yeah. And you see it. You see the difference. Like, he cares. He really does.
Yeah.
So, have you guys ever had to put out a job ad? And I guess I was just going to be curious, just for the, if you've put out a job or anything or any opportunity, how have the applicants been diverse in general? Because I believe that's one of the biggest problems. It's just that typical.
No,
Not really.
No, we haven't done any yet, but we're kind of gearing up for it. So we've never had our tap room open because we opened during the first lockdown. So Melissa now is doing all the work to all the construction to get that open at some point, hopefully in the next month or 2 or however long it's going to take. So we're going to be looking to hire some front of house staff to work the bar. So yeah, I think the way you're going is discussions we've had, like what. How are we going to go about making sure we get someone who's as passionate as we want them to be about craft beer, but also, diversity is a part of it. Like we were saying, even, with the deaf community, someone who could speak sign language, like how amazing would that be? So there's a lot of factors that we've talked about, but we haven't yet put the job posting up.
Yeah.
What would you want us to keep in mind? I think this is a question that a lot of breweries have. What would be a good kind of checklist to go through and just make sure that we're considering the points we should be?
One thing I'd be curious to see on that, and when you're even thinking about putting out the job, is one, like, can you look at potentially not traditional job boards and see if there's other opportunities to list in different places. So, for example, we can't speak to any other things right now because I can't put it on paper yet. I can't say it yet.
I know what you're talking about.
We'll talk about it after. But can you put it in different places so that way where people of color are looking and actually searching for jobs in this industry, so that way you can have a diverse range of applicants. Like, that's one thing to consider too, because it's like maybe you're just on Indeed and you say you're a brewery and then only certain people are applied to the brewery, for example. I also wonder too if breweries take that corporate approach where there's this full commitment to diversity that they actually put in the. Is that common? I've just never seen a brewery ad. But I'd actually be curious to know, brewery, we are committed to diversity. Let us know if you are even a diverse applicant. Like, there are some things where people are actually like putting bars that say like, we welcome diversity in this company cares about this thing. I don't know if that's always found in brewery applications, but it could be an interesting thing to borrow from what corporations generally do. Because I think it's important. Do we do that? I was like, look me up online. I'm black. And you'll see that I'm committed to diversity. Sorry. I didn't really think about it. Did we have that? I don't even think we had that.
We probably should.
So that's terrible. We should have actually had that.
Because that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I love
but that's what I noticed with our clients. I'm taking
it.
It's completely stealing it from our client. When I see our clients' job postings, they always say, like, we're committed to diversity. We're committed to diverse spaces. We're open. We're blah, blah, like the whole spiel, so that people can see it and be like, all right, cool. Like, there's something that's like an extra signal, which I think is definitely key. Tap your networks more, just so that, like, you can hopefully get the ad in front of more people. Like, one thing I loved even about Dominion City too is that they ended up, their CFO was like someone who was like bookkeeping for them part-time in the beginning, and then like 5 years later like scaled all the way up, which ended up adding like managerial positions in the BIPOC community, which is super rare in craft beer. Like, what we generally notice is that, like, you have 2 levels. You have like entrance when you think about like diverse people in the industry. I feel like you go from like entrance to owners. You don't really see this like middle background there, or anyone at the executive level or the managerial level. So that was cool, really, really cool to see. And it all starts from like this person that you bring in, and then they're in the end they have a bachelor party, and all the beers there are Dominion, and then you end up bringing all these other people who start understanding craft beer. So I think it's just only helps the industry further, when you start bringing in that workforce. And our goal, which we'll never be able to quantify, is to diversify the workforce, but also diversify the industry as a whole. So more diverse customers, and then more. And I think we think that that's tied to the workforce.
I don't even know if it's a thing. I'm pretty sure it's like you said, it's unquantifiable.
It's unquantifiable,
but
yeah,
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
If you have a person of color working in your tap room, maybe they weren't familiar with craft beer. They're going to be working, and you're going to, try this. We're doing it. Yeah, what the fuck? What is a slushy beer? And they're going to lose their minds.
Then they bring
and
their
then
friends.
they're going to bring it home, and their friends are going to be like, "Yo, what is this?" And then, like Tiff said, Stefan, the CFO of Dominion, he got married, so his bachelor party was all craft beers. And he said everybody loved it. Every time he'd have beers, he'd always bring them around if he was going somewhere. And then they'd be like, "Yo, where can I get this?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just a matter of like, "Hey, try this, man." And they're like, "Wow." Well, not even just man. Sorry, that was very gender specific. Because anybody, obviously it's for everybody. So, just somebody that's working there is automatically, if at the very least, even if they're a person of color that does not even have any friends that are people of color, they have family that are.
Yeah.
And they're going to show them this stuff. They're going to bring it home. Go, "Look what I work." Like, "Oh, wow, what's this? It's got a skull on it. That's cool."
Yeah.
Because your shit is cool. It's not off-putting, but that's what I was kind of getting at. Whereas, like, typically, maybe people wouldn't be drawn to a skull. When you really look at it, like, Casey's phenomenal with that. It's just a beautiful piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try the stuff that's inside the can. Like, what is this stuff? And it's just because people aren't familiar. So I really think that has that roll-on effect to your customer base. And I would, once again, it's still qualitative, but I bet you, just like you guys were saying now, you already got quite a diverse customer base that you guys were surprised about. If you added a person of color in your tap room, for example, because that's going to be your new thing, I would love to speak to you guys in a few months after and see how that maybe, changed, if it did or didn't, because my guess would be that it would. Maybe not guaranteed, but I think it's highly likely because I think it's very correlated.
Yeah, and you never know, that person might scale up, which is also the link up thing. Like maybe you entered in the tap room, started working in the brewery, then ended up being a head brewer, whatever you end up being. Then maybe you start your own brewery. Like that is the goal though, because it's like people need to just be introduced so that they can explore the industry more. And right now, I think the main blocker is people are just not aware of craft beer. It's still very small in comparison. So they're just not aware of craft beer. The opportunities don't get presented to them. But if you ever tried it, you would be so down. There's no question about it. Like, you're going to be like, "Oh, if I try this, I'm in." And it's just like cool environments to work in. It just needs to have more people. But they're cool. That's the one thing I do like when we're in the States a bit more, is just like, you do go to other half in the tap room is diverse. You feel super comfortable there. And just like we have friends, Crowns and Hops, they are opening their own brewery, but before they're opening their own brewery, they did this, like, they used to do like these crawls and events that like brought people everywhere. Like, you never see everything, just like Asian women, black guys, everything. It's just like LGBT, everything. It was beautiful. All together, just doing brewery crawls, and then all of a sudden you drink these 4 breweries in this one afternoon, and you're like, okay, when I see them on the shelf, I'm going to pick them up. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity there. And our target is the workforce, because we're like, okay, when I'm working at a place, if I love the place, I'm going to tell everybody about that, and then that's going to expand.
And they can also contribute to, they'll you might be like, "Hey, what can we do for the next slushy flavor combo?" And they'll be like, "Yo, what about these fruits?" You'd be like, "I never would have thought of that, because potentially some of those fruits might be cultural."
Yeah.
Sour sop.
Diversity in beer, then you get the
shit.
diversity in the beer. Yeah.
And that will result in the flavors. So there's kind of like an all-encompassing, like seeping through the industry, like a positive, result across the board just by diversifying the workforce, which is why Link Up is specifically concentrated on that, because it will, if we get that fixed, it'll change the beer and it'll change the consumer base.
Yeah.
So and I think that's really where craft beer needs that as that foundation, and then to take some of that market share back from those macro pricks.
That's amazing.
That's right.
That's
Thanks
awesome.
for sharing all that with us. That's really awesome.
Yeah, we just talked for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Just
sorry
ran
about
on.
that.
We just went on for
It's
like
about
5 minutes straight.
That's phenomenal. Is that not the point of this?
Technically,
Yeah,
yeah.
Stuff on the table, and to be able to do that in an authentic conversation is pretty awesome. I feel like it's the second beer though.
See, this is what
See,
happens.
okay, no.
This is how
First
it
of all,
starts.
you're already the longest podcast as it is. We're really good at capping.
We could have an off-camera beer, maybe. Because maybe we could wrap this one up. I don't know. We're pushing an hour. This is
It's already
we're
the
at
longest
55.
one, of course.
55?
Yeah, we're at 55.
Sorry,
knew it.
You guys.
See, no, but that's it. Because we love you guys, and like talking to you guys is genuinely a pleasure. It's just like hanging out with old friends type of thing. You know, like the fact that we could hang out for like damn near 5 hours and it's not even a thing. It was one of the best nights of 2020. Like it was just such
Yeah,
an
that was
amazing.
wild.
Man, you guys are just cool as shit, and you love what you do, and it's just a pleasure because we can always sort of talk, and that's what we want people to see. If people are watching this from the industry, you know, like that's what. If everyone can see that and be like, yo, everyone's just cool as shit. We need to be in on this, and you know, it's just a cool place to be. Is craft beer, and it can only be made cooler by bringing in these new perspectives, and you know,
We love you guys too, and I love when we talk. It feels like we're actually getting shit done. Like we're like, it matters.
Productive.
It's like, it's not small potatoes here. It's like it's stuff that's worth talking about. So I feel like we gain a bit of ground every time we get together. It's awesome.
Couldn't agree more.
I love that.
With these short, I know. Trust me, bro. Like these short podcasts kill me. I don't like it. I love the link up season because it's the point, but we're really trying to stick to this shorter thing. But we'll talk after, so stick around. But like honestly, proud of you guys once again. Thank you again for being involved. This beer is spectacular. Now
So
I had one the other night.
This is my first time having it. It's great.
Yes,
I've been
it's a-
waiting to.
I didn't want to share the last one
before
with you.
having it. Yeah.
Nice.
I know. What the hell?
I
just realized.
was like, this is
Anyways,
my,
yeah, this is my. Yeah.
you guys, we're huge fans, and it's a genuine honor, and I mean it for real, for you guys to be involved in this and to, use your platform to spread the word about Link Up, which is, something new, even though we're all, us and Sankiem have existed for a bit, but it's, you didn't have to do this, you didn't have to donate, the time, the energy, and all of the things around it to what we're doing, and it's genuinely appreciated, and I really think it moves the needle. So thank you both very, very much, and also to Jim and Melissa as well for obviously they're on board too. With that said, by the time this comes
thank
out,
you. Thanks for thinking of us. Thanks for having us.
always,
Of course.
you guys are
Always.
champions.
I just wanted to say, we really
Please.
appreciate it, and even the talk tonight, and I think I'm a bit of an echo here, which is probably fucking everything up, but just like throwing out ideas and challenging us, I think it's really important, and it's really awesome, and thank you for having us and letting us be part of this.
Genuine pleasure. By the time this will come out, when everyone
Next
sees it, it
Wednesday,
was
right?
recorded kind of like a week before. I imagine the beer's probably long gone by now.
We'll see. We nip
We'll
and
see.
tuck.
Okay, so you never know. So if you do need some, make sure you guys go down to Third Moon and grab that. Where can everybody find Third Moon online, fellas?
You can find us on thirdmoonbrewing.com, and most people order on Thursdays at noon when we release new beers each week, and then come pick up from us on Friday and Saturday. And if that doesn't work for you, just reach out and we'll figure out something that does.
Love it.
I love it. And it's at Third Moon Beer on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Thank you.
It's okay,
It
no
is.
problem. The consistency you did, the consistency. I
consistency.
love it everywhere I go. I put Third Moon Beer, highlight it, boom, it's there every time. Love it. It's you're making us proud in every way. Let's get the thumbnail real quick. Jeez, I almost
yeah.
forgot that. Would have been a problem.
Proper cans up.
Yes. Hold the cans up, boys. All right. Don't block your face, babe. Don't block. All right, you ready? Oh, look at that. Gorgeous,
Wonderful.
mate. Guys, stick around. We'll just wrap this up. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash a thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell,
Ding.
So you know when the new drops. Follow us on social
I
media.
think the notification bell's down there. Right?
I think it is there. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
We should think about our arm movements.
Or where we put the
Yeah,
notification bell.
yeah,
That's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah.
That's a good point. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast and also at Link Up Beer. It is linkupbeer.org. If you are a BIPOC individual who wants to work in the craft beer industry, please hit us up. Go to the website. There's an application form you can apply, and the wonderful Danielle will get back to you and interview you and take you through the process. Guys, thank you so much. What else? Did I say everything?
Yeah.
Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
And yes, we're back every Wednesday. We drop the next episode, and please check out this beer at Third Moon if you're able to get a hold of it. If you're in Ontario, if you're elsewhere, try and trade for it. You know, sell your firstborn, sell an arm. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Mate, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Cheers.